Hello and welcome to day 3 of the Easter Craft Countdown, where I'm sharing a brand new free Cricut paper craft project every day for 10 days. Today we're making these adorable little Easter bunny shaped photo holders. I'll show you how to cut your photo so that it fits exactly into the middle of these little bunnies, and then we'll use Cricut's print then cut feature to get them and put them in. Let's get started. If you haven't already registered your free ticket for the Easter Craft Countdown, go to craftwithsarah.com/Easter to do so. Click any of the sign up buttons on the page and enter your name and email to register. Once registered, check your inbox for an email from me with subject line Easter Craft Countdown ticket information, or any of the other emails from me that you've been sent throughout the countdown. Can't find them? Check your junk or spam box to see if they've gone there by mistake. These emails contain the link to view the countdown projects and download today's files. Scroll down the page to find today's project. Click the button to start the files automatically downloading to your computer or mobile device. Each download is only available for free for 24 hours after it goes live. If you've missed some, check out craftwithsarah.com/Easter bundle to purchase immediate and ongoing access to all of the files from the Easter Craft Countdown. Each file will also be available to purchase individually from my SVG shop once the free version has expired. All downloads come in zip folders. You need to unzip them before you can upload the files into Cricut Design Space. Once you've downloaded and unzipped the folder, it's time to get the SVG file into Cricut Design Space. Open up Design Space and start a new project, and then go into Upload over on the left, and then Upload Image. You can then either click Browse to find the files on your computer, or drag and drop it in. Make sure you choose the unzipped version of the folder, and then go into SVG Files, and then we've got our two little photo bunnies in here. They work exactly the same, so I'm just going to show you how to do it with the first one. And that is this one. So this has got a blue backing and pink ears. The other one is the other way around. So it's got a pink backing and blue ears, and one of the ears is folded over. But of course, you can do it however you want, and you can change the colours later on. Press Upload, and then it will appear in your recent uploads. So you can click on it to get the green border, and then press Add to Canvas. If you want to, you can resize the design, so make sure this padlock icon is closed. If it's not, click it to close it. You might need to click it twice, and then you can resize it to whatever you want. However, I actually quite like the size they load in at by default. It's almost 5 inches. If you want to make it neat, you could just change it to 5, but it's up to you. We need to add our photo into the middle, and we're going to be using the green egg shape to cut out our photo into the correct shape so we know it will fit. First, click on the design and then press Ungroup over on the top right to separate out all the layers. Next, we need to upload the photo, so go into Upload again and then Upload Image. I'm going to drag in my photo, and I'm just using this little stock photo of this cute little Easter dog. I thought it was appropriate. From this screen, choose Complex and then press Continue. You don't need to change anything on this page, so just press Apply and Continue, and then click Print then Cut Image, and then Upload. It might take a little while, especially if you've uploaded a big image. But my little doggy is now here, so I can click it and then press Add to Canvas. Here it is. It's loaded quite big at the minute, so I'm going to make it a little bit smaller now. And then in my Layers panel, I'm going to click and drag it so that it appears between the white bunny shape and the green egg. So it's above that green egg shape. And that means I can now drag it in here and resize it again, and I'm going to see exactly how it's going to appear. You might find when you're moving things that it starts selecting bits of the bunny instead of the photo. If that's the case, you can click the photo in the Layers panel here, and then use the arrows on your keyboard to move it about instead. So you want to make sure that the bit of the photo you want to see is the bit that's showing in here. And don't make it any smaller, so don't have any of that green showing. I think I'm happy with that. When you're happy with how the picture's looking, click it in the Layers panel, press Shift on your keyboard and choose the green egg shape, and then press Slice. This is going to cut the egg shape out of the photo. So I've now got these separate layers. I've got my egg shape, and you see actually my photo was a little bit too small because it hasn't quite cut the whole of the egg out, but actually that's okay because it's going to get hidden by the foot, although it might make it a little bit more difficult to actually glue it into the frame. So what I'm going to do is undo that slice and just make my photo tiny bit bigger, and then do that again. Oh, I've still missed a little bit, but that's just such a tiny bit, you're hardly going to notice. The green egg is a little bit bigger than the actual gap in the bunny anyway, to allow for a little bit to be cut off of each side. So I'm happy with that one. Let's delete them and then drag that back. And this time I'm putting it right near the bottom, so between my bottom bunny and then the pink ears, or the blue ears if you're using the other one. And just drag that back into place. I've still got that little slice result. Let's delete that one. And then this is all ready for me to cut out. So I'd go into Make It over on the top to separate out the colours. And this one you can see here is a Print Then Cut. I know that Cricut are currently working on changes to the Print Then Cut. So yours, if Design Space has actually updated by the time you're watching this video, because I'm recording it a couple of weeks in advance, you might not see a solid black border all the way along. You might just see little corners. And these are called registration marks, and it's what your Cricut actually uses to read the bit of paper to know where it wants you to cut. These lines are called registration marks, and they're what the Cricut uses to know where to cut. Cricut are currently experimenting with changing how it is, so if yours looks a little bit different to this, that's absolutely fine. That obviously just means they've finished their update. If they do change it, then I will do a separate video on that. But to be honest, I imagine it'll work exactly the same way as it currently does. It's just instead of showing the whole box, you'll just get little corners. If you've never done Print Then Cut on a Cricut before, then check out the description of this video because I'll add the link to another video I've done all about how to print then cut, which goes through the whole process. So from printing on your home printer to loading it in the Cricut, seeing how it actually cuts it and what you need to do on the screen, as well as how to get the best quality print from your printer. As I've already done a video on that, I'm not going to repeat it in this one. So I'm just going to go ahead, get everything cut out, and then I'll show you how to stick it together. Here are all the layers of my little bunny cut out and ready to be stuck together. I'm going to move all of this apart so that I can start by folding up the base. And I cut this from quite a lightweight card, which I think was maybe a mistake. It should have been a little bit heavier card so that it will stand up better. But hopefully it will still work. So I just folded that in half. And then we can start adding on the other layers. So next will be the photograph to go, if I can pick it up, underneath this layer for the ears. I'm going to glue these together. The glue I'm using is called Kalal. Where is it? There it is. I really like it because it doesn't bend or wrinkle the cardstock, and it also dries quite quickly, which is nice for this type of project. And then I've put it into these needle tip applicator bottles. I'm going to put my glue very, very carefully around the edge of the photo. Remember that the egg of the photo is slightly bigger than the hole. And the reason I'm doing it this way is it means I can then perfectly position it by adding the pink layer on top. So I'm just doing a really, really small border of glue around that edge. And then I can get my bunny layer and position it on top so that the photo is exactly at the angle I want it to be at. Now gently push down to get it stuck, but I don't want to push too hard because I don't want my glue to smush out and be visible. Whilst that's drying, we can work on adding the foam squares to the paws. Or feet. Do bunnies have paws? I think they're still called paws, aren't they? It's not just a dog thing. I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to stick these together with a combination of glue and foam squares. These are the foam squares I'm using, which are quite small, but even if yours are big, they should be absolutely fine for this project. So I'm going to bring my top layer of the bunny in and start by using my foam squares to put the solid colour of the paw on them. Make sure you double check you're putting it on the right way and that you've got the left and the right foot the right way round, because they're not actually the same. So you want to make sure you put the right one on the right foot. And you know that because it'll perfectly line up. There we go. And then I'll glue the top layer of the feet on top. There's the right foot stuck. And let's do the left one. Now, if you're making the other bunny with the folded over ear, that one has an extra piece as shown here. You've got the little fold, and I'd also use some 3D foam to stick that one on there. But for this one, we don't have that, so we're just left with these bits. And I'm going to glue this bunny onto my pink bunny. I'll line up exactly on top again. Oops, I just completely messed that up. But luckily with glue, you've got that wiggle room if it's not quite lined up right. Okay, the final step is to stick it onto the little folded bit so that it will stand up. Now be careful when you're doing this that you don't glue the tops of the ears. I did that on this one, which I made first. If I turn it round, you can see I put glue on those ears and then realised that there was nothing to stick it to. So don't do what I did and instead be smarter. And the way to be smarter is by putting the glue onto the base card rather than on the back of there. So let's do it a little bit better this time. This is where it's always good for me to do a practice before I start filming. I did feel very, very silly. All right, so now again, this lines up exactly on the top of there. Wiggle it into place. Just opening the back so I don't accidentally stick it to the back as well as the front. Make sure you don't overlap the bottom, otherwise it won't stand up properly. But that's looking good. I'm going to give that a moment to dry. Oh, it's so cute. They look really nice together as well. All right, so there's one that stands up nicely. And then number two. If you don't want to stand them up, then you could always glue these two flaps together. And then you could perhaps put a magnet on the back, or maybe glue gun on a loop of ribbon if you wanted to hang it up from a hook or something like that. There are loads of different things you can do with it. You could even use it as a greetings card and write a message in there. And if you want to do that and then make an envelope for it, I have a separate video on how you can make envelopes for any type of Cricut project and make sure that your project will fit inside them every time. So I'll drop a link to that one in the description of this video, so you can go and check that out if you do want to make an envelope. But for now, here are my cute little bunny photo holders all ready for Easter. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial on how to make these cute little Easter bunny photo holders. If you did, please give the video a thumbs up, and I hope to see you tomorrow for day 4 of the Easter craft countdown. Thank you for watching. Bye!